Hey, good evening, council and council members. My name is Mark Lewis. I own a house at 132 Atlantic Lane in Lower Matacumbe. Lucky enough that my grandfather and my dad built that place back in the early 60s. I've been going there since I was 3 years old. I caught my first fish there on the seawall. Both my kids caught their first fish off the same seawall. So yeah, I've been going to that same location for 56 years. I'm showing my age now. Anyways, I want to thank you all for Phil and everybody putting the time in to get the grant to get the canal dredged. Definitely was in need of that, especially after Irma. We saw a lot of settlement, as you know, and it was dredged once and it kind of filled back in. So thank you for that. I think that's going to be very helpful. But I want to have a conversation about the proposed bubbler that's going to be supposedly going to be put in. As you know, there was a vote. It seems like the people in the front of the canal, which I'm part of that group, we voted no to have the bubbler installed, and the people in the back of the canal voted yes to have the bubbler installed. So apparently we were outvoted. I don't remember the number, but I've been going there again since I was many times. I've been to that house and hope to retire there soon. And last May, just about a year ago, I was down there and we had a very high, heavy onshore breeze, like which we get often in the Keys, and I noticed that my basin, which is the first basin on the canal, and Atlantic Lane Canal, was full of weed, and it was pretty jacked, and that little angle was on my side pretty heavy. So I said, let me take a couple photos, and I went up to the front, took some photos, took some video, whatnot, and then I went over to the Matacumbe Resort Canal, which is one canal to the south of us. Within about 5 minutes, I was over there. And the video that you will see and the photos you will see is of that canal as well. Same time period, same time of May, same onshore wind flow. And as you'll notice that just inside the bubbler, there's their boat ramp, which is the same side as my basin on my canal. So if you compare the two canals, southeast breeze blowing down the canal, all the weeds stacked up in my basin on the Atlantic Lane Canal, and on the Lower Matacumbe Resort Canal, or the Matacumbe Resort Canal, I should say, excuse me, their boat ramp was completely jack full of weeds. It was just a brand new, fresh load of weeds right inside the bubbler. Then if you look at some of the photos I took, you'll see there's more weed down inside the bubbler throughout. And I said, you know what, let me take a ride down to the back of the canal, because I get it, that's where a lot of the weeds ends up, because the flow slows down, it just gets stagnant back there. So I drove down to the back of the canal. As you can see by the photos, in that canal, the back of the canal, completely jam-packed full of weeds. So not only was the bubbler installed and working, but what wasn't working was it was not stopping any of the weed flow. It was just coming in and pushing down the canal, especially with the onshore flow. And sargassum weed is a large, heavy volume, and so any possibility of the bubbler stopping it was, at that point in my mind, it showed me it just was not working. So that's the problem that myself and a lot of us have, is having to pay for something that we completely, plainly see does not work. Not only have I seen it there, I've also seen it in the other canal to the north of me, at the back end of their canal, which there's a boat ramp on that canal. I've looked over there, walked over there, and seen that boat ramp full of weed, and they have a bubbler as well. So both sides of the Atlantic Lane Canal has bubblers, and there's just, it's not slowing it down, unfortunately. I wish it did. So I wanted to say thanks again for giving me the time to share this with you and look at the photos, and just want to be on record that we're looking at, being added tax to us on an annual basis, which, I plan to give this house to my kids. I don't want to pay $12 more a month than I have to. Nobody wants to pay more in taxes, right? Especially for something we see visibly it's not working. I'd rather see you guys create some kind of flow with the same tool and use some kind of push mechanism to push the weed out the canal, as opposed to trying to keep it coming in, because it's coming in. There's no doubt about it. The other thing I witnessed too, which I need to make note of, is I went over and with my paddleboard and looked at the Matacumbe Resort Canal, and there was a little bit of weed being held up by it slowed it down a little bit. It was sitting there, and here comes the boat. And as soon as the boat came, it just punched a hole through the bubbler and sucked the weed right through. And as you know, both of those canals have a lot of, boat traffic volume. So any weed that is going to be slowed down is just going to get pushed through with the boat traffic that's coming through those canals. So again, that's what I observed. Pictures, I think, back it up pretty plainly. So if you have any questions, I'm here to answer. I was maybe hoping to be there, but if I couldn't, I figured let me at least share this video with you guys. So again, thank you for taking the time to take a look at it, and just wanted to go on record as far as what my stance is. Okay, thank you. You guys have a good evening.